Perfect. Get on over to YouTube, and I think we've even got the 3-screen figured out. He has got sunglasses because he is laid back. He is in Vegas, and he is ready to take on the world.
Yeah, he is.
I know exactly how the rest of his day is going to play out. He's going to talk to us for an hour. Then he's going to go over to the 49ers facility, and he is going to talk to the 49ers. And then when night falls, he's going to go to his room and study fifth-rounders in the draft. That's right.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's none other than Larry Krueger live in Las Vegas, Nevada. How hungover are you, buddy?
Feeling good, actually. Got a nice opening night dinner, a little country ribeye, and had a couple vodka Greyhounds, a couple glasses of wine. Feeling pretty good.
Oh,
kind of easing into it.
I love it. And you're not driving right now, right? You're the passenger in this vehicle that I currently am seeing moving.
That is correct.
Okay, good.
I have a driver.
Wow.
The channel's doing very well.
Man, I mean, is this an Uber or like what is happening out there?
I mean, seriously, this is even better than an Uber. This is a true driver. I mean, a person who's got their own directions, independent of this phone, which is being dedicated more to the broadcast.
Okay.
Willard Dibs.
Are you being taken out to Lake Las Vegas right now? What's happening?
Yes. I'm being carted out to Lake Las Vegas.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I figured. So, yeah, Larry Krueger with us. And by the way, this is the super special live stream. So make sure you're with us. Odyssey app, YouTube, Twitch, all of that available, uninterrupted, commercial-free, all the way from now until 6 o'clock. There'll be Warrior basketball, but we'll take you up the whole way talking 49er football. So, Larry, how would you kind of look at the week that's been for the 49ers? I've talked about how the Chiefs have been real quiet, and the Niners have practice field controversies. They've got fire alarms in the hotel. They've got Kyle Shanahan apparently drinking with you before media availability. There's a lot going on. Is this all just stuff, or is there maybe kind of something to it?
Well, what would there be to it? I mean, I would just say that all of those things. I mean, I don't want to say they won't have any impact on the game, but I think the 49ers have this kind of like, hey, you know what? We've been disrespected. The alarm thing lasted for 28 minutes. Their field is not nearly in as good a shape, and Shanahan's going to try to use that some kind of a psychological edge to get every incremental edge they can get. That's what football coaches tend to do. So we'll see if they use it to their advantage. It's a really good opponent on a fast surface, coming off 2 games where they didn't really play that well. The Chiefs are kind of rolling with a kind of an unimpressive group of weapons, but like good weapons, but like really just they've been doing a lot of the quick game, a lot of the really underneath stuff, nothing crazy. And now we're just going to find out, can Steve Wilks' defense defend that and get Mahomes to have to really drop into the pocket, and then Bosa and maybe Chase Young can win against their tackles. But first you got to stop Pacheco. First you got to stop the quick game. And they brought it to the Ravens last week, and Baltimore couldn't stop it.
Wouldn't you say that Baltimore largely stopped themselves by only rushing it 8 times and abandoning the one area where you can gash the Chiefs, and they gave it up for the most part early in that game?
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, Kansas City has scored on 8 first offensive possessions, so they put a little pressure on you for sure. And then, I didn't understand the game plan all day from Todd Monken. I mean, you are the number 1 rushing offense in football, and you gave your running back Gus Edwards 3 carries, and I think he had like 13 yards a carry, and he only got 3 carries. How do you do that? So, I mean, I think that they badly misinterpreted what their plan should be, and I think the 49ers ought to run the ball as much as they possibly can against Kansas City.
Larry, how'd you take – sorry, it's live stream. I'm eating. No joke. I'm having a cheeseburger. Anyway, how'd you take Chris Jones's comments? We both thought that it was kind of not trolling, but when he says that this is the biggest test that the Chiefs have faced and the best offense he's ever seen, how did that grab you?
I mean, they're just trying to throw bouquets at the Niners. I mean, I think deep down they feel like they've got the Niners' number. I mean, I felt like Mahomes might have been trolling, the Niners when he was asked about them earlier in the week, and he's like, they go really hard on every play, I mean, especially on the heels of the Chase Young thing last week. So, I don't know. I think Kansas City deep down, if you're asking me how do I really think they feel, I think they feel like they've got the upper hand. They know they've got the formula. Mahomes has never lost to the Niners, and I think they're going to bring a ton of rhythm and confidence into the game.
So how do the Niners upset that rhythm, especially when it comes to the Mahomes offense? And I'm fascinated by just how Steve Wilks will approach it. We know they don't like to blitz a lot. Do you feel good about your base four getting to Mahomes? And if you do, how do you defend behind it? Because we've seen Travis Kelce be maybe the best zone beater in football, and the Niners do like to play a lot of zone. So if you only rush four as a 49er defense, how do you go about trying to take Kelce out without manning him up or at least trying to double team him?
Well, I mean, there's going to be different situations within the game, of course, based on down and distance. But, I mean, I think overall the Niners feel good about their individual matchup on Kelce. Whether it be Warner. I mean, Warner seems like he's, just maybe made to defend Kelce. But the Niners are probably going to have to give Mahomes and this offense some different looks. And I'm sure it'll be a mix. I mean, do they go five-man front, bare front, try to stop Pacheco? I mean, that's a big one. To me, though, it really starts with the two things. It's you got to stop Pacheco in the A gaps because they like to run behind Creed Humphrey right up the middle. And then if you can somehow stop Mahomes on third down conversions, he's really dangerous as a third down runner. I mean, he converts third down. So that's what they're doing. They're really conservative. Against Baltimore, he started 11 for 11, and they were all within 3 to 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. So you got to tug up on their short game and really challenge them at the line of scrimmage, take away Pacheco, and then force them into some pass rushing downs, and then Bosa, Chase Young win against their tackles. But it's like two things have to happen before you even get to Bosa.
Larry, let's back up for a second. What the hell's going on with the defense? Let's be real here. It's been 5 straight weeks that their DVOA is literally below NFL average. Not just below themselves and their norm, below average. What is going on? What do you see? How do you fix it?
Okay. Well, some things are fixable, some things aren't. And it's like, you got to get at this point, there's not a lot of personnel changes they can make. They've lost Cleveland Farrell. I know that sounds crazy to bring that up, but a team that has Hargrave and other big-name guys. But Cleveland Farrell played really hard, was really good anchor against the run. Just in the last year, look at all the good run defenders they've lost, from Jimmy Ward to Aziz Al-Shair to Emmanuel Mosley to Samson Ebukam to Charles Omenihu. They've lost a lot of the edge teeth this defense has had. Now, they've gotten away with it all year because of two reasons. Greenlaw and Warner are spectacular, and other than that, their offense has gotten in a lot of situations that's taken the run game away from the opponent, starting in week 1 with the Steelers, where they got up early and then teams just stopped running. So I think they've never, I asked Shanahan about this, Mark, in coming out of camp. They got gashed in the preseason against the run. They lost a lot of quality run defenders, and that's it. Now, in this game, Jair Brown is playing safety, and he's really, I think, a force against the run. And after being called out, Chase Young's motor is going to be revving hard. So, to me, I think those are two really key guys for the 49ers. I got a feeling I know what the rest of the guys are going to do. But if you could tell me that those two guys are going to show up, I think the Niners have a chance of have a good day.
And how do you get Chase Young to just rev up the motor? Aren't you surprised that this is even a thing, considering the gravity of the conference championship game, and yet you see him on multiple plays kind of jogging and lollygagging after the ball carrier?
Well, Dibs, it's all there, and he had to face up. The Niners are very serious about it. Lynch said, I'd be shocked if we see that again. Wilks, said he was embarrassed and was obviously disgusted. So, to me, it's one of the most interesting subplots in the whole game, Dibs, is we know Chase Young's high-end performance ability is pretty special, but he hasn't played to that level with the Niners, and probably wasn't playing to that level this year with the Commanders. But if he can just have one game, because there's so much money on the table for this guy. If he has a big game here, all will be forgotten. This is a big money game, and is he a big money guy? We're going to find out. He's talented, but they talked about character issues at Washington. I think a lot of people thought they were talking about off-field character, but I think it's really not off-field character, it's on-field character. It's does he play hard all the time, or does he pace himself? He may not fit their culture long-term, but in this game, he's been called out. He's been embarrassed. I'd be shocked if he doesn't really get it revved up.
It's the Willard Dibs special party here, live stream, YouTube, Twitch, Odyssey app, and one of the reasons that I'm going to say this next is because YouTube is one of the major platforms we're on right now. Thank you, Larry. That's a little bit better. I thought you weren't driving. Are your hands free?
My hands are free.
Okay, if your hands are free, then why do we get a vertical look up your nose with your camera while we're trying to look at your beautiful face and listen to what you're having to say?
Not a kid.
See? Isn't that better? Look at you. You're a handsome man.
I wanted you to see the inside of my nostrils to know that they're, filled.
That's gross. That's super gross. Yeah. I get it. You're in Vegas. You're not the first. But anyway. All right, Larry.
Stream show.
Shouldn't the Niners be able to run the hell out of the ball, right?
Yeah. I think that Kansas City's defense 17th against the run, but then when you look into some of the what they do against two backs, what they do against two backs, the early downs, yeah. I think there's a chance that the Niners could run McCaffrey and have a ton of success running it. So, yeah, I think if the 49ers, I would love to see a 60-40 run-pass split that keeps Mahomes on the sidelines and puts the game on Debo and McCaffrey.
And you think maybe Juszczyk as well. You talked about two running backs on early downs. That speaks to me about a lot of 21 personnel, maybe even 22 when you bring in the second tight end to go with the two running backs in the backfield. Can they bully this team on the ground, thereby keeping Mahomes off the field?
I don't know if you're not going to run around them because Willie Gay and Nick Bolton are two of the fastest linebackers, and if Gay's going to go, he's sub 4.5. You're not going to run around them. You're going to have to run through them. The Niners you guys know it. They're a run-through team. They don't run around you or by you. Debo sometimes will get an angle and he'll take off, but they like to just kind of try to run you down, run you over. So I would love to see a run game that was diverse, that gave Mason some runs, that gave Mitchell some runs, that gave McCaffrey some runs, that gave Debo some runs. I'd like to see a run-heavy scheme because the numbers show if you can run it on Kansas City, I think you can beat them. The Raiders beat them earlier this year. They ran for 150, almost 160 in that game. That's the recipe.
Larry Krueger with us here, Willard and Dibs, live stream, YouTube, Twitch, and the Odyssey app. Larry, forget the breakdown for a second. I just want to explore what you think, because when they were about to play the Packers, you thought it was going to be a really close game. You were right. You felt a little better about the Lions game, but you weren't peacocking. Compare your feelings about those two games to this one.
Well, the first game, that the big factor there I thought was going to be the rust. Because, your defense was going to be rested, but you were going up against Jordan Love, who was super hot, and then your offense had to play live ball for 3 weeks. I think that's where it hurts you. And sure enough, the offense started a little slow. Brock looked really uncomfortable. They got it going. This time around, I just see, a very good Kansas City team. Starts with Andy Reid. I mean, Andy Reid is not going to do what, Dan Campbell did. He's going to manage the game smarter. So that's one. And then you have Mahomes, and you're not going to speed up Mahomes. And he's got so much confidence playing the Niners, and he's got so many different ways he feels like he can win. But to me, it's first and second down. If you can stuff Pacheco and take away they're going to try to just really conservatively go quick game on you. If you can take that away, get them into third and long, I think you got a shot. But this Kansas City team is going to be good. I mean, they don't take a lot of chances offensively. They're only giving up 7 points a game in the second half. So they're just trying to do anything in their power to get a little bit of a lead, shorten the game, and turn it over to their defense.
You mentioned a quick game. Outside of Travis Kelce for Kansas City, who should the Niners be concerned about in that quick passing game?
Jerick McKinnon is the name that's really intriguing because McKinnon obviously killed the Niners in the game in 2022, and he's one of the best, guys to throw to in the flat. Now, he's just coming back. I don't know how much run he will get, but there's no question that Pacheco is high energy. They can use McCole Hardman, and they did on all that short stuff in the red zone. He's very fast, very difficult cover. So, there's no doubt. Kansas City has a bevy of options that they could use in this game. Noah Gray is a tight end they went 3 tight ends against Buffalo a ton, and they just pounded the run and did some play action off of that.
Larry, as you're heading out to Lake Las Vegas to talk to the Niners, what are your goals? Yeah. Who do you want to talk to, and what do you want to ask?
I want to talk to Steve Wilks. And
yep.
I'd like to say, Steve, I watched the Raven film, and they have an incredibly hard to stop short game where they're so unambitious with what they're trying to do that it's just like when somebody's got the ability to go up top, but they just throw 3-yard passes to Kelce. They're just moving the chains. Kansas City's very patient early in the game. How do you take away their short game or take away Pacheco? Because if you don't, they may not even take too many chances going downfield. And the idea that you're going to get, Bosa and this big pass rush from Mahomes, if they play the Niners the way they played the Ravens, it's going to be very difficult to sack Mahomes.
Larry, Dibs brought this up. Do you think that Steve Wilks is safe no matter what? Do you think there was discord between him and Kyle Shanahan this year?
I don't know if I would go as far as saying there's no evidence of discord. There's no evidence of discord. The one thing about Kyle is whether it be talking to you guys or me or the players or the coaches, he's direct and real and honest, and he shoots straight. And then it's just it doesn't mean you're going to hear what you want to hear, right? And that zero blitz at the end of the first half against the Vikings was a no-brainer, and it's sorry that you have to get called out on that, but it is what it is. So and all these coaches kind of know the score, so. I covered this earlier this year with Chris Forster and Wilks himself. They know what they signed up for, And it's, did you get it done, yes or no? Lots of criticism. Nobody's above it, So he's a big boy, but I don't think there was any real bad blood between him and Shanahan. But as far as is he here long term, Mark, it's interesting. His career says there's no way he's here long term. because he's been in like 18 different spots in the last like 20 years.
Yeah.
So he's probably moving on, but my guess is I could see him back here next year.
Yeah, it really kind of depends on what happens over the next 60 minutes of football. And it seems to me, Larry, that Steve Wilks has done a lot this year in terms of playing zone and that bend but don't break, a little bit of soft coverage. And that may not work against a Kansas City team that's trying to quick hit you. Do you see them changing up and going to more man-to-man and trying to maybe press Kansas City inside that 5-yard area?
Well, if they're watching the Raven film, unless they,
Uh-oh.
Kansas City's patient enough to do exactly that.
We back.
So, to me, and that's why I'm going to ask him the question, because you're right. It kind of goes against tendency. They usually kind of let the game kind of settle in and then kind of bow up in the red zone, make a play, get a turnover. They got 22 picks. But in this game, I don't know that Mahomes is going to take off chances.
Yeah, I speak Larry. He said, I don't know if Mahomes is going to take a lot of chances, so I don't know if you want to necessarily lay back. And Larry is right, and you saw it against Detroit where they were playing 8 to 10 yards off early in that game, and then after my Instagram video that they undoubtedly saw, Mark, they started rallying up and blitzing the run as much as they were blitzing in the pass game.
They asked Jed York what happened at halftime, and he goes, so Dibs says we should do something different than lose by 17.
Well, and I told them exactly what to do.
Yeah.
And, they followed the blueprint perfectly, Larry. They started blitzing the run and devoting more bodies to the line of scrimmage, and I hope they make that adjustment earlier than halftime here on Sunday.
Larry, you okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
No, it sounded like you were heading out to where the bodies are buried.
In Lake Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we are headed out to Lake Las Vegas. So
good Lord, bro.
Forgive me if, it's a little on the drier side out here.
Yeah, I bet.
What's their schedule today, Larry? Are they practicing now or, what are they up to out there at the lake? Paddle boats?
Today really is the biggest day, guys, of the whole week, because this is the day that the players, are going to go full speed on the turf. And I would imagine they're wrapping up their practice probably right about now. There'll be a media session coming up here within an hour, I think at 4 o'clock. But, today, what we get out of today will be the biggest news of Super Bowl week. Why? Because this is the first time the Niners were really cut loose on this practice field. And so think good thoughts. They're privately very disgusted by it. Publicly, be faced on it. So it's not probably because they got scolded by the league for being unhappy with the surface, whatever. But from what I've heard, it is a debatable surface and whatever. But they don't want it to be a whole theme. They're not talking about it. And, I think that's been the big one. Today, we'll find out exactly how they came out of their biggest practice of the week. Kyle said the game plan went in Thursday, and then they fine-tuned it earlier in the week. So they got a pretty good idea at this point what they're doing, and now it's just about walkthroughs and mental reps and making sure everybody's on the exact same page on every single possible option.
Fingers crossed that nobody gets hurt out on that turf because, man, that's going to be a game changer of that story. So hopefully everything is done today. And then, as you said, it's kind of slow speed to the game after that. Larry, can we go back to something you said earlier when you were like, look, you guarantee that Chase Young is going to give a different effort after getting publicly called out and embarrassed. Here's my pushback on that. If you don't know in a free agent year to be at full effort when trailing in the NFC Championship game, how are words going to change that for the Super Bowl?
I mean, it's a great question, Mark. I mean, I would say the big thing is just everybody's about, just like anything else, man. I mean, none of us are perfect. and we all get called out, right? Hey, you know what? Life calls us out, or boss calls us out. Somebody calls you out. You either get better or you get worse, right? You either bounce back and you show what you got, or you fade away. And we're going to find out a lot about Chase because the spotlight's on him. I mean, his effort or lack thereof in the NFC Championship game is a theme. And because this is the magnitude of this game, there'll be a lot of eyeballs on him. He can both make himself a lot of money, and he can also, lose a lot of money. I mean, nobody's got more on the line in this one. He called himself out, and he's said the right things. Now he's got to go play. So I think he could be primed for an all-timer. I can't wait to see what kind of game he has.
Willard and Dibs and Larry Krueger's left ear here.
That's
on
right.
The Super Stream Show here on 95.7 The Game YouTube and Twitch pages. And I got to say, Larry, I've always favored your left ear over your right ear. I think your right ear is overrated.
Yeah, what's happening? Your head is large. Why are you having a hard time finding it on the phone?
It's like one of those things where it's like I start talking, and I'm looking in the car, and it's some coordination involved here, fellas.
Yeah, it's a coordination sensation is what it is. And you hang in there. Your driver's doing good.
Hang in there, big guy.
There'll be brighter days ahead.
I've got the great Kev Krueger driving here.
We noticed. We saw the side of his head one of the times that you missed your head, and it shot to the right, and we saw him. What up, Kevin? Yeah,
Kevin.
Drive safe, brother.
Yeah.
You keep doing your thing. Your dad doesn't trust you. That's why the camera keeps flying off of him over to you.
Yeah, seriously, I'm nervous. I'm a little nervous. I'm thinking, is he on the rental agreement? And then I'm like, I'm thinking about it.
It's actually a good question.
Boy, that's a great question.
Wait, how old is Kev? How old?
He's 9.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, no, then he's not on it. That's illegal.
Yeah, that's his first. Today's his 9th birthday. No, he's 22. He's 22.
You have to be 25. We all know that. This is
just to rent it. You could be on the agreement as long as you're a licensed driver.
No, you know how this works. You're allowed to vote, then you're allowed to drink, then you're allowed to rent a car.
Yeah.
That's how it works in America.
Yeah, but I just can't remember which box I checked. Did I say that?
Yeah.
Forget.
Did you get the extra insurance?
No chance.
Did I ask for the extra?
Yeah.
Did I it's these little details that get me every time.
And always gas up on your own. Don't let them gas you up.
Great point.
They're going to get you.
Yeah,
they're going to get you for $8.49 a gallon. So
that's a veteran move, Dibs. Veteran move, right
especially
there.
out of Lake Las Vegas, which is quite a distance
just remember,
from.
kids,
if
you're renting a car, kids, gas yourself up.
Always.
And take pictures. Take pictures because, went to Kauai last year.
Dude, I got a story, too.
And they're still sending me emails saying I owe them $350 for some scratch on the car that I absolutely had nothing to do with it. And they're like, do you have pictures to prove that you didn't? I'm like, do you have pictures to prove that I did? What are we doing here?
Yeah.
Take video of the whole car, but don't let Larry do it because he'll miss and take a shot of the ground.
Yeah.
Supposed to laugh at that, Larry. That was funny. That was funny.
Well, I've been going back and forth. I was pretty confident last week, but as we've gotten into it, and it's not just the fact that the public is all falling over themselves to back the Chiefs. You talk to football experts, and you start to think about how this game could go. And I feel like this one is it's a coin toss. And I gave Mark this hypothetical earlier in the week, and I'll give it to you too, Larry. Let's say you're down, but would you rather be down 4 with the ball with 3 minutes to go and 1 timeout at your own 20, or up 4, Mahomes has the ball, 3 minutes to go, 1 timeout at his own 20?
Mm-hmm. Down 4.
Would you really?
Yeah. I've seen Mahomes. Mahomes typically finishes pretty strong.
Yeah, but that's
I was in the same boat, Larry.
That's such a PTSD pick. The analytics of that is to take the lead.
No, I know, but I mean, you're asking me what do I feel is more successful with this team? I'll take my chances with Brock Purdy. The Niners are scoring 30 a game. Shanahan's a phenomenal play caller. They got the greatest collection of weapons. This is where their team is defined. I mean, why are you gonna have all these great offensive weapons if you're not going to use them at crunch time? So I'd lean on the three guys that have been the best all year: Debo, Ayuk, and CMC.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, but I mean, it's just a flat out, like, it's a percentage play. It's a percentage play. You have a better shot of winning that game if you've got the lead. Like, the other team needs a touchdown. I know Mahomes is good, but Lair, the Niners scored 120 more points than this team did this year. 120 points more than the Chiefs. Like, I know they've got Mahomes. There's no question who's got the better offense in this game. It's not even close.
Well, I mean, have you seen Kansas City's offense all year? I mean, they struggled at times. I mean, I love Mahomes, but Mahomes, Kelsey's a Hall of Famer. They're on an unbelievable connection with each other. So it's just they've got some nice weapons, but their tackles, they don't trust their tackles. They don't pass block well. Mahomes has had 14 interceptions. So I mean, there's been a little bit of a struggle.
What do you think? You're asking for our prediction. Come on. What do you think?
What do I think? Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you.
31-20. 31-20. I like the 49ers 31-20. The Niners score about 30 a game, and I think they'll be able to score their 30. And I think the 49ers are going to get a couple turnovers of Mahomes. And he's due. He hasn't turned the ball over at all. But I think it really comes down to the first basic question is, can they stop the quick game? Because that Kansas City is so conservative with what they're doing right now. They're not even trying to be impressive. It's just like they know they got a great D, and they're just going to do as little as possible to take any risks. They're not going to turn it over. They're not going to throw the ball down the field. They're just going to try to nickel and dime you, and then I guess the Niners will try to run Pacheco because the Niners have struggled to stop the run. And that'll be it right there. The Niners can stop that. Then I like Chase Young and Bosa and Gregory and the Niner D-line pass rushing against this O-line.
So in run formations or in run situations, rather, you'd expect it to be Chase Young opposite Nick Bosa in the base package and not Randy Gregory. He'll be mainly in there for the pass rush.
I mean, I just trust Chase Young, a little bit more to bounce back. It's like you got to.
We're now in a parking garage. Larry Krueger.
He gone.
Yeah.
He gone.
Might be tough. He's arriving at his final destination.
They'll get him back.
Yeah.
They'll get him back. Larry's going to join us for a little while longer.
I was confident I'd get him back last time.
Yeah.
Not so confident.
Now I see him again.
He's back. He's outside the parking garage.
He's still talking, but he does not realize that we can't hear him.
And Kevin Krueger is looking for a parking spot, which it depends on how you approach it. Are you one of those guys to circle for the best possible spot?
It's funny that you asked.
Or will you just park, just park somewhere and start walking?
No, park and walk.
Yes.
I can't stand when you see someone who stops in the middle of the aisle, puts the blinker on.
Yeah.
They're like, this person's leaving, and I'm going to I'm getting that spot. And you're like, there's a spot 3 spots away.
Right.
Get out of your car, get some exercise. What's the matter with you?
What's the matter with you?
It's funny that you asked because lovely Christy was actually in the city earlier today.
And now she's in the chat.
Yeah, she's in the chat. We got a pre-show coffee together today.
That's so great.
And we circled around the neighborhood for literally, we had maybe 40 minutes, and we used 20 of the 40 minutes looking for a parking spot before we finally gave up and just went in one of the parking garages, then hustled over to grab a coffee and talk for 12 minutes and then leave.
Well, it's almost impossible in this city to find a spot.
When it's there,
exactly.
Take the spot. That's my philosophy.
We got Larry back, by the way.
Larry Krueger back. What's your parking situation, Larry? Are you now safely parked at or around Lake Las Vegas?
Yes, I am. It's a very quaint-looking area. Lots of hills and mountains around. Very beautiful. Lots of earth tones. Very nice place. We're on the rooftop. We have arrived.
Just one question, Larry, about being out there where you are with a substandard field. Was there ever a discussion about the Niners getting today, at the very least, to practice on a field that is going to be a better facsimile for the field that they're going to play on Sunday?
Well, I'm sure there were internal discussions and they weighed all the pros and cons, but there would have been a major negative PR hit for the league if the Niners abandoned the league's approved field and accommodations for the Super Bowl. That would have been a huge stink and a major power move. And I'm sure they considered all their options and then just said, you know what, we'll just do the best we can do. They're not happy with it, but I think it was not a decision the league wasn't going to take that level of a PR hit. I just don't believe it. I mean, the Niners sure changed their tone after one day. Now, some of the talk, Dibs, was that there was so much rain that maybe made it extra squishy and that it actually firmed up over the last couple days. Is that true? Is that just the new message? I don't know.
Yeah, I like extra squishy in many things, but my turf is not one of them. And I was going to elaborate because we're on the stream, but...
That's how you order your burgers?
Always, yeah.
A little brioche bun, extra squishy?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had a couple more references, but I'm going to go ahead and hold off,
Stick with that. Yeah. This is our last live stream of the week.
Yeah.
Let's just, it's going well. Please don't bleep it up.
Yeah, I was going to make a reference to a sorority mixer in 91, but I'm not going to say that.
Okay. All right. Larry Krueger's with us here live in Lake Las Vegas. His son is currently driving him out to his desert grave. And we are with him. Yeah, we're with him along the way here on the live stream, YouTube, Twitch, the Odyssey app. Glad you're with us. Warrior basketball on 95.7 The Game shortly against the Pacers. Hey, Larry, what's your thought on this? I know we all think Brock Purdy is unflappable, built for the moment, all those little cliches. Patrick Mahomes does this every February. Brock Purdy is going into his first experience and is the most talked about player in the process. How does that affect the first quarter, the nerves of this game?
Well, it's a great question, Mark, and we are thinking alike because I did ask Purdy this question. This was my question last week about.
That's where he got it.
About starting fast.
It's not true.
It's like. And he said, you know what? We play better when our backs are against the wall. We play better when we have that sense of urgency. And it's just a mindset. We got to find it early in the game, in a game of this magnitude. So, it's like he's already kind of thinking things through. He's a really mature player. I mean, it's anybody's guess how this is the ultimate stage, right? I mean, you just never know. But if you're asking me as a betting man, I would bet that a guy like Purdy's going to thrive in this stage. It's going to be dry. It's going to be a fast surface, a fast defense, but he's got a really good offense. I think, this in a game like this, I think it benefits him. I think it really does because he plays more of a true brand of football when it comes to he's in timing in lockstep with his receivers, and so he needs kind of more of a controlled setting. I think you put him on turf where guys can't slip and the ball's going to come out on time, you can get very, very precise. And I think he's going to have to be very, very precise to win this game.
Doesn't the fast track ultimately favor Kansas City, though, considering their wide receivers and what they can do from a speed standpoint?
Well, I mean, there's no question that it's going to benefit anybody who, to me, it's about like the run after the catch guys. I mean, you still got to catch the ball. I mean, their problem this year, Dibs, is not that they don't have guys that can run. They got plenty of guys that can run. They don't catch the ball. Their wide receivers dropped 25 passes this year. The Chiefs, as a team, dropped like 38 or 39 passes. So that's really more the concern is, like, can they catch the ball? But, yeah, they've got some big-time speed. There's no question that should also – and Pacheco, when I think of who's going to be better on Kansas City on the turf, it's Pacheco, because he's just so hyperactive in his movements, and he's so energetic, and he can make some amazing cuts. So to me, it all starts with Pacheco. You stop Pacheco, you stop that short game, and I think the Chiefs are beatable, because I don't think they can make enough plays or not hold enough against Bosa or not get sacked by the Niner DNs. I think that's the key to the game.
You sound worried about Pacheco, but I keep thinking that that's the kind of runner that sort of plays into the 49ers' strength. They are bad on outside runs. They are good on inside runs. Pacheco is more of an in-between-the-tackles guy than the guys the 49ers have gone up against so far in these playoffs. So isn't that something, especially with Armstead now, 2 weeks more healthy? Doesn't this at least a little bit play more to their strength?
Well, I mean, it's interesting because the Niners' weakness has been outside the tackles against the run, and the Chiefs' strength is really, Creed Humphrey. And, even though they have Nick Allegretti instead of Joe Thuney or Thuney, Allegretti's a monster as far as a road grader. He's very strong. So, they have Trey Smith on the other side. It's their interior. When they got into the red zone against Baltimore, even though Michael Pierce is like 360 and Matabuke and all, they ran right in the A-gaps against Baltimore. And I would imagine they will try to do exactly the same to Hargrave and Armstead and Kinlaw. So that's a major one right there. I mean, how do the Niners stop the run at the point of attack? And I think if you ask me to guess how this game's going to start, I think Andy Reid's going to test them at the point of attack and see if they can deal with just Pacheco straight ahead. And if they can't defend it, that's all they're going to get.
And we've seen Steve Wilks go 5 down linemen a lot. Can you or do you anticipate them going to a 5 down lineman base where you've got just 4 in the secondary, you've got Greenlaw and Warner, and you devote an extra defensive lineman to try to take away that inside run?
Well, the Bear front, the 5 down linemen, I could see that. I could absolutely see that. And maybe play a little man on the backside. The one thing that I thought was interesting, the most interesting comment all week was Alex Smith when he said he didn't know if the Niner defense was multiple enough or provided enough different looks for them not to get kind of carved up, and that he could only see the Niners winning in kind of a shootout. I could kind of see a little bit of that, but I still think the Niners defense will get enough stops to keep it somewhat lower scoring. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I see, a blow. I don't know if I see anybody score 40, but one of the best bets of the night to me is Chiefs over 23.5.
Really? To me, 24 is the magic number. 24 is the magic number. If the Chiefs get anything more than that, I don't love the 49ers' chances. But let's just spotlight the Chiefs for a second. I'm not here to say, Larry, that they're not good, but I'm here to say that their offense is just not that dynamic. You even said it. They play this thing so conservatively now. Look at the yards beyond the line of scrimmage through the air, the intended yards by these quarterbacks. Brock Purdy is way ahead of Mahomes in terms of the aggressiveness of what they're doing. The Chiefs got this impressive win over Baltimore. They scored 17 points. They went scoreless in the second half. The Chiefs, how many times did they go over 30 this year? 3? 3 times now in 20 football games. Why would anybody think that they're going to come out and run up the score?
Yeah, no, I hear you. And what if the Niners have success? Like, if you ask me, what do I think we're going to see? I think the Niners are going to have success running it. But then I also fear that Pacheco and the Chiefs may have some success running it. So that makes me think maybe a little bit lower scoring game. But, I still kind of like the 49ers to win this game because it just feels like they can score 30 easier than Kansas City. But then Kansas City also is like they just 6 weeks ago, Reed just basically said, you know what, I don't trust anybody but Mahomes, Rashee Rice, Pacheco, and Kelsey, an occasional bit part from somebody else. But that's it. I mean, they're going to one receiver, one tight end. The Niners have Warner. They should be able to put Mooney Ward on Rashee Rice. I kind of think Detroit and Green Bay offered a deeper and more challenging cover group of weapons than this group. And so I kind of wonder, if this is going to be, the Niners are going to keep Kansas City down a little bit more than they have in the past in this one. Because I don't see Kansas City as being explosive.
Yeah, you like the over 23.5. That's interesting. And I guess for me, this whole thing will come down to red zone defense, because I think both these teams are going to try to keep the other off the field, the other offense off the field. So for me, it comes down to red zone defense. The Niners have been a great red zone offense, but the Chiefs have been solid on defense in that same area. One prop I love is the Kyle Juszczyk receptions over a half. What do you think about that, Larry? Juszczyk being involved in the pass game.
I love it, yeah. Especially because, there's Spagnuolo loves the blitz. I think there's a very good chance that the Niners play a lot of 21, 22 personnel. So, I like that. I like anything involving Juszczyk in this game. Juszczyk's an interesting player. It's like, he makes a lot of money. People rip him for the money that he makes. But he's like one of those guys that he's very trustworthy in a big moment, and he can do a lot of things. So I could see him playing a big role on Super Bowl Sunday.
If we're going to play the over-under game, let me give you another one. Over-under a half on 49er run plays, not by McCaffrey, Debo, or Purdy.
Over.
Okay. Who is it? Is it that effective Jawan Jennings play again?
I'll go Elijah, right? Is Elijah going to be healthy in this one?
No reason to think otherwise.
Yeah, so I like Elijah. I mean, here's the thing. I mean, I think that Elijah Mitchell is a guy the Niners have used at times. Kyle loves to use him as his finishing back. So, if they get a lead and they're up in the fourth quarter, and McCaffrey gets dinged, or, McCaffrey gets smoked on some of these runs. He gets hit hard. He raises the hand. Elijah Mitchell comes in. He gets a very trustworthy carry. Kyle trusts him a lot.
Yeah, he came in for the scoop and score. What was it, against Detroit, where he came in for the one carry and got the touchdown after McCaffrey got rung up pretty well. What do you think about George Kittle in this game, Larry? How is Kansas City against tight ends in terms of what they like to do defensively?
Well, I mean, I mean, as far as Kittle goes, I mean, this is one of the most challenging games of the year. Kansas City's got a ton of speed. The numbers that they have look pretty mediocre against the tight end, to be honest. But I just think that when you factor in Willie Gay coming back, that's the one to look for in this game on the Kittle front, because Gay's so fast, and he's just such an incredible weak side player, and he's just so hard to shake in coverage. He gives them a look of, that's a dynamic cover. When they came in 2022 and beat the Niners big, Bolton and Gay covered the entire second level by themselves. I mean, they really were fantastic, and it allowed Spagnuolo to get really creative. So I like Kittle because Purdy, as far as some of the props, because Purdy does lean on the tight end in tough defensive situations in the middle of the field, and I could see them leaning on Kittle. But it's Willie Gay's a tight end shutdown guy.
Are you staying for the game?
No. We're gonna be flying home or doing our deal home on Saturday.
Okay, and then how are you taking in the game on Sunday?
I'm doing it the way I want to do it. I'm watching it in my house with my 14-year-old and 17-year-old, and probably having some chicken wings and.
Yeah, I was going to say what's on the menu. You can't say probably on Thursday. You need to know this already.
I know, but I'm in Vegas right now. I'm dealing with day by day. It's an hour by hour deal here. But no, we'll do the full chicken wing, appetizer. I usually let the guys pick whatever appetizer they want, and then we'll have a few people over. We'll watch the Super Bowl, and hopefully the Niners win.
And what are you like during a game? I got to say, with how long I've known you and how many times I've talked Niners with you, I don't think I've ever watched a game with you. Are you a nervous wreck? Do you just kick back and you're kind of like, whatever, I'm analyzing who I think they should take in the 6th round next year? Like, what do you do during the game?
It's mostly the 6th round analysis, and I just try to, just dreaming about next year. No, I mean, I watched the game, and like anybody else, I'm not, to me, it's like I do get nervous on some of the, when they dug themselves a hole against Detroit. I mean, I really did not give them much of a chance at halftime. I don't know if you guys did.
I didn't give much of a chance.
I just felt like it was just brutal. There was no way they were coming back. So, but when I'm watching it at home, just I'd usually write down like just the key plays that I think stand out, and then just sit there and listen to my 14-year-old tell me all he knows.
Yeah, that's kind of the vibe Mark had at his house last year with his 17-year-old and his, I guess then 8 or 9-year-old. They also were. They were chiming in.
He would have been 8,
somewhere in there,
coming up on 9. Yeah, he would have turned 9 a week later.
I've watched a couple of games with Larry, and he's pretty mellow. And if you ask him during a timeout, he'll give you analysis, but not a big yeller, not a big screamer, not a big celebrator.
I mean, I almost attacked the great Ryan Leong in the first quarter because he was like that over-talking nervous guy.
Oh, boy, yeah. And you can't have a lot of talkers at the Super Bowl.
I can't have an over-talking nervous guy within arm's length of me. I just lose it. I absolutely lose it. So I literally had to tell him, dude, I can't deal with the play-by-play.
Yeah, and that was in the press box, too, right?
Yeah, that was in the press box.
That's rough.
That stuff is normally verboten anyway.
You're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't yell at the screen.
No.
What about this? But do you think the Niners should be favored?
They were plus 197 or something like that. Point differential. The Chiefs were plus 77. 49ers are a more powerful team, I think, on both sides. But I understand why people like Kansas City. I mean, you have Mahomes and a great defense, but Kansas City, I think, is beatable. I think you can run it on them. I think you can beat them. I think you can stop Pacheco, force them to pass. So I think the 49ers can do more in this game than a lot of people think. A lot of people look at that defense and go, oh, my God, no, it's a Chiefs defense. But, the Chiefs defense has lost Charles Omenihu. I thought that was a major loss. I mean, you guys know how well Omenihu had been playing. So that's a major loss. The major advantage that worries me in this game for them is Trent McDuffie, the nickel corner. He's playing at such a high level. He's an all-pro player this year. He's super fast, great coverage. So you got to make sure you keep the ball out of his vicinity. But, the 49ers have a lot of weapons, and the Niner offensive line is playing better than people really give them credit for. And now it's just a matter of, does the defensive line fire a big effort? This defensive line has 6 free agents on it. It's going to be a bunch of new faces in the room next year regardless. How does this D-line come out? Do they come out with their hair on fire and dominate? Does Hargrave show that he's worth the $40 million that he got? Does Armstead play like a borderline all-pro? Does Chase Young dial it back to his rookie year? I mean, Bosa show that he's 1 year off of being the DPOY. I mean, I want to see what this defensive line does. And Kinlaw's a free agent. Givens a free agent. All these guys, this is it, right here, right now. And if they get pushed around like they did in the Detroit game, then they may lose. And if they can stand up to it and stop Pacheco and stop the short game, I love their chances to score 30 and win.
Yeah, that would be great. I think 30, to Mark's point, I think 30 gets it done. How concerned are you about the not the Spagnuolo-Shanahan matchup, but Coach Spags against Brock Purdy and his ability to disguise what they're doing and maybe coax Brock into one of those Brock picks that we've seen late in the year?
I mean, there's no question that Spagnuolo is he's got a veteran defense. He's got a really smart secondary. I think it's one of the smartest teams in football defensively. You can see their awareness if you watch them when they play zone. They can man up. He does disguise things. I mean, it was, the guy's, unbelievable. He's a veteran defensive coordinator. I guarantee you he'll have some wrinkles. As far as Purdy, I think Purdy's going to be extra careful with the ball in this game. I think he's got to be disciplined enough to stay aggressive, but don't put the ball in harm's way. The best way to lose is turning it over.
All right, man. Do you want us to let you go? Where are you now?
Yeah, I better jet. I'm at the press facility. It's time to go talk to whoever we're talking to.
4:00 start for the availability.
Yeah,
but you don't know who it is.
Well, I'm out here talking to you knuckleheads.
What if it's Tabor Pepper and they're like, that's it? You could talk to Tabor.
Then I'll do the best damn Tabor Pepper interview you ever heard.
There it is. There it is.
Ask him about hand placement on punt snaps versus field goal and PAT snaps.
I'll talk to him about his philosophy about tweeting because he is far and away the Niners' biggest influence, social media guy. He's big. He's big on the on the Twitter.
All right, there it is, guys. Larry Krueger, everybody. He is able to shoot himself with a phone about 68% of the time. He is absolutely the best. Thanks, buddy.
How's it looking now?
That's a good ear. Look at that thing.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Do you know that it's hereditary whether or not the bottom of your ear is attached or detached from the side of your head? Yours is very attached.
It's very attached.
Yeah.
Tough to tell where the head ends and the ear begins, quite frankly.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Yeah. Tell Kevin he's lucky to have such a handsome dad.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I turned down the modeling career to do this sports radio thing, and it's probably wise.
Who cut your hair?
I do it myself.
I can tell.
I've got that.
Yeah.
I've got that thing that you just. No. I go to DiMaggio's barbershop in downtown Walnut Creek.
Okay.
And it's a phenomenal spot, and it's been there for years. Check them out. It's about 30 bones. You gotta tip though.
You always. I love that you make it sound like that's only true there.
Yeah.
Oh, you gotta go to the place where you have to tip everywhere, Larry.
Unless you want to live at the bottom of Lake Las Vegas, it's DiMaggio's.
That's true. But I mean, I'm saying it's 30 plus the tip. It's not 30 and the tip.
Got it. Okay.
It's not included. So it's usually, you take out a 40 and then it's like, well, that's a lot for a haircut, but then, maybe 5 is less. I just go 40. I just go 40.
That's a good
40
move.
for a $30 haircut.
Well, like you said, you can't give him 220s and say, can I get some change? And then you're that cheap guy who's only giving him 5 back. If you come with 35, you could give him a 20, a 10, and a 5 and get away with it.
Right. Exactly.
Larry, get out of the car. Go.
Okay.
All right.
See you later, guys.
Bye. Jeez, get out of here. All right. No, love you, buddy. There you go. Larry Krueger. Did he flip us off there at the end? What happened there?
No, he was using the index to.
Got it.
He's back. He's gone. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That's it. Larry
Daniel
Krueger.
Zidane, let the man go.
Let him go. And then Uncle Eddie says, let my man live.
Totally.
Yeah, we did. We let him go.